Hello, I'm Jim Miller. I'm here with Ron Bowers and Henry House. The Flip Side starts right now. Welcome to the show. We're fortunate in Washington County to have many educational opportunities, not just at the college level, but also at the K-12 level. And a critical piece of that is technical education. And we're pleased to have with us tonight Cody Pine, who's the supervisor of career and technology education for Washington County Public Schools.
Yes.
So, Cody, I know that the technical education has a history at Washington County Schools because I have a wooden tripod from like the 1960s that somebody gave me that was actually used when they filmed the the live classroom type thing.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about the history of technical education at Washington County.
Well, now this is for what I know. The Washington County Technical High School was built at its current location, the building that we have, in the 70s. And it was home to trades programs and programs that the community at that time felt that was pertinent. And that's about all the history I know of the thing, except that through the years it's progressing to meet the needs of the community. And I can talk a little bit more about how programs get started.
Go ahead, yes, perfect.
So for career technology education, not only at Technical High School but throughout the county, we have what's called program advisory committees. And so each program, and I'll give a for example, the electrical program that we have. We have community members that sit on the electrical program advisory committee, and they say, well, this industry certification is pertinent for these young people to have to come to work. And it's usually an apprentice type of certification. We then take that information and backwards map curriculum so that students are successful in getting that certification. And then those business partners that we have on that program advisory committee then look at hiring those kids as an apprentice or as a student to work for them and to keep. So that's how a program evolves through CTE.
Okay, Ron?
And a follow-up to that.
Sure.
Do they still have the competition where there will be county, city, or state type of inspectors, fire inspector, or plumbing, electrical inspectors that come in, and there's a competitive Saturday that they come in and set up all different ways that kids can compete to be, the best that they can be?
There is. It's called Skills USA. And that's been around for quite a while. I don't know the exact date of the origin of that, but we do have teams that participate through all the cluster areas at Washington County Technical High School. We have criminal justice there, we have electrical, we have carpentry, we have computer development and design, we have leadership. So all those things. Some soft skills competitions are there as well.
Does any of that go into STEM or any phase of the HCC? Is there any related aspect of that you do with HCC?
We are currently in process of aligning programs with HCC, which means we have students at our school that can transition right to a program at HCC and or earn some college credit while they're with us. So we are, the goal, our 5-year plan, and it started last year, was to bring value added to every career technology education program, whether that be an industry certification that a student will get, for example, like an Adobe certification or a Certiport certification, electrical certification, carpentry, or articulated college credit with HCC, which means that once they complete the program, they will get a certain number of credits for an HCC program, and or dual transcripted credits, which means dual enrollment. So the student will be a Washington County Public Schools student, and they will also be a Hagerstown Community College student. So they're earning college credits while they're in our classes. So we are working hard to get every student in career technology education value added.
Okay. How many skills programs do you have? You said electrical, and I presume you have plumbing, CAD.
Countywide, we have 43 programs.
Okay.
At Washington County Technical High School, that houses 17 of those.
17. Okay.
And we have a separate building from the tech center. It's called the Public Service Academy. It's over here on Common, or Frederick Street, 701 Frederick Street.
Okay.
And that's home to the Human Resource Cluster, which is Criminal Justice, Homeland Security, and Fire and Rescue.
Now, the students who complete the programs with you, what is their likelihood of landing a job straight out of high school? And this is one of the things Mike Rowe advocates has been, because the critical skills that we have, electrical, plumbing, general construction, et cetera, are really need skills that we have in our society today. You don't need a 4-year degree. You can immediately start to contribute back to society.
And by the way, make pretty good money.
And make good money. I was getting to that.
Sure.
So a student graduating from your program, could enter in making $20+ an hour because they have those skills. How is that job market for those students?
So, well, the job market exists because, one, we monitor programs with the area, with the Department of Labor, making sure that there are jobs for programs. We're training kids for jobs that exist, but we're also looking to the future to train kids for jobs that may not quite exist yet, but we're giving them the training that they will need for those jobs when they come available. IT, changing rapidly. We have a Cisco Networking Academy right now, which will lead me into, you all know about Barbara Ingram School for the Arts. Fall of 2020, we are moving 2 career technology education classes down to the renovated building.
Oh,
Interesting.
We are moving digital communications, which is very similar to the setup we have here, also with still photography and arts and formation and all things like that. And we're also moving computer, game design, and animation down there.
Wow.
The blend. So I'll give you just to make that relevant, I need to just give you just a brief background of what computer, game design, and animation is. It's not just designing a game. You design 3D elements. You have virtual reality. You compose music digitally to put into the game. The kids at Barbara Ingram will fit right into those things, and it's going to be, I think, a blend and a mesh that it's going to be hugely successful, and I can't wait to do so. And also in the fall 2020, we are going to introduce then cloud computing and artificial intelligence. So we're trying to move and get current with our programs. And we are introducing the advanced manufacturing engineering program. We've been talking to our community members, our manufacturing partners, and they tell us that in every career cluster there's a shortage of workers, and the workforce is aging out. But they really need skilled people in manufacturing. So to answer your question, after all that rambling, it depends on the program.
Okay.
Our nursing program, kids go to work immediately. They also can go to school because they will come out of the program with a certified nursing assistant and a geriatric nursing assistant.
And well, with a lot of the nursing programs, to be successful as an RN, okay, of course you're going to have a minimal commitment of 2 years. Traditionally, it's 4.
Right.
And then to move up, you're going to need to have you're going to need to have a master's degree in nursing to if you want to go into management. But the common skills, okay. You still have, I guess, the hairdressing is probably an old
Cosmetology.
term. Cosmetology. Okay.
There's a need for cosmetology. Everybody's getting their haircuts, and I don't see
Not
that.
Ron.
I don't see that. Well, I don't see that being taken over by robots.
they
Right.
do shave, by the way.
That's right. And I'm very proud of that program because 100% of those kids passed the licensure. And that's a pretty good, looking at my notes, that's a success for us.
Right.
A pass rate
So that
on
even takes
licensure.
health issues, right? Because they have to know health issues, medical issues.
There's chemistry involved because of all the mixture of the colorings and things like that. There are health issues, of course, of the bloodborne pathogens, things like that. There's biology. I mean, that program is very academic, and people just think it's cutting hair. It's more than that. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours these kids need to accrue to get their licensure as well. So they do those things. So to be successful in that program, you can't miss school. You have to have good attendance. And what do we look for in an employee? Regular good attendance. It means there's soft skills things that are built right into the program, and the kids are learning those things by doing. And so our kids in that class also learn leadership, because a lot of those kids start their own salon or hair business, after they leave the program. And so, yes, there's things like that still exist. Our electrical students go to work right away. But on the other side of that, we have students in the biomedical program, and they are all going to a 4-year, at least a 2-year, most a 4-year institution. These kids are going to be pharmacists, technicians, doctors, scientists, things like that. Our engineering program, those kids are likely going to go to at least a 2 to a 4-year institution to further their education. You asked about partnership with HCC. Those are the programs we are aligning. And so the nursing program, you're exactly right. Once they leave us, we're looking to align so that they can get college credit while they're with us and earn that. And then when they leave us, they can go to Hagerstown Community College and finish through their program. So partnerships are being built and worked on.
We're going to take a break right there. We hope you'll stay around for another segment because we have lots more questions.
Great.
Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Cody Pine, Supervisor of Career and Technology Education. We're back in 3 minutes. Welcome back. We are here with Cody Pine, Supervisor of Career and Technology Education for Washington County Public Schools. Cody, one of the things that I heard as aspirational when BISFO was started is, well, 2 things actually. First of all, that the kids should do better in their academic classes because of the fact that they're spending a lot of time in something that they love, and they can apply some of the things in academics to real-world scenarios within their chosen field. And then the second thing is that at the technical education, the academic rigor is equal to what you would find in a normal high school. Can you address those 2 points?
Absolutely. I feel very strongly about this because, again, we talked about value added for all of our programs, and it's my job to take a look at curriculum and make sure our curriculum is rigorous and relevant. So all of our classes have an academic component, because we are studying for a test. We are, and everybody says, "Oh, you're teaching to the test," but you want your doctor, you want your mechanic, you want these people that you're taking your life into their hands to be certified.
Right.
So these kids do sit, they do study, they do have academic rigor. I don't care if it's the carpentry program, the electrical program, the cosmetology program, any of the programs, they all pass a college class, a industry certification. So yes, very rigorous before we can get to the hands-on things, because we really have to know what we're doing before we can then move forward.
Let me ask a question and follow up with what he's saying.
Sure.
You teach to the test, but the test is an actual function, where teaching to a test is just giving answers to something. There is a function that they have to perform.
It's real world.
Whether you're in cosmetology or what you're in. So you want to explain how that is done.
Sure, and a lot of the test is a skills-based assessment as well. So you need to know what you're doing theoretically before you can do the application. So the test is theoretical and application. And in a lot of the instances, yes, that's absolutely correct.
One criticism that I've heard, and maybe you can enlighten the people watching, is, some people say, I'd love to send my kid to career technologies, but he likes or she likes to play soccer or volleyball or baseball, and it doesn't give them an outlet. And they can't play at their home school because they're not enrolled in their home school, they're enrolled in career tech. Is there a reason why those programs aren't available to them?
Well, that's not accurate, because they can. The home school that they come from and go to the Washington County Technical High School, they are still eligible to do all the extracurricular activities at their home school.
Okay. Has that changed recently?
I don't know that if it has or not, to
Okay.
be honest with you, but I know that that's the current policy.
Okay.
So students, we do have students that play football. For example, if they come from Boonesboro to Washington County, they can still go back to Boonesboro and participate on the football team.
My son had a friend that was coming into the high school to go to a track meet today from
Okay.
Tech High.
All right.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good you brought that up, because some things that are out in the public is inaccurate,
Well, and-
outdated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my reference point for technical high school was clearly not what technical high school is today. I went to school, well, let's just say a long time ago, and it was a different facility, and I think it was a different thing back then. But the fact that, I mean, we see this, we hear people like Mike Rowe,
Right.
we hear all of these people talking about how important a technical education can be, and we see the successes. I mean, look at the BISFA program alone. It is just unbelievable in my mind that we have that kind of resource. And to multiply that by what you said, 40-some programs,
Right?
That's-
Countywide.
Maybe you can explain a little bit. We talk a lot about the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts, and I feel that technical high school, the trade school people should be on the same footing as the School for the Arts and as academics.
We are.
Yes, you are. And I think you need to explain some of the partnerships and some of the things that the technical high school does that's right up there with the academics and with Barbara Ingram. Some of the partnerships you have.
Well, automotive technology. I'll just give you a few examples. Automotive technology program. We were approached, and there's such a need for automotive technicians that if we have our students pass the there's 9 student certifications. If we have students that pass 7, there's scholarships available to send 2 students to school for them for free. And there's no commitment for those students to come back and work for the person that's offering that. There's a demand for our electricians. Every single one of our kids are employed. And by the start of their senior year, they're employed. And the majority of them stay with that company. We have a youth apprenticeship program, and it's starting to grow. And the purpose of that program is to have a business say, here's the job opening that we want. Do you have a kid that has some related instruction? Yes. We hire that student, we build that student then at our company on the job training, after schooling, and with the intent that we keep that as an employee.
Can they go there part of a day?
We can modify schedules, yes, and we call that work-based learning.
Okay.
So when a student's through the program and pass those technical skills assessments or get that college credit for the value added, then they're eligible to go out on a work-based learning program.
So you mentioned about the fact that you have a group for each of the programs of outsiders
Yes.
that are really in the real world, and I assume that their participation is potentially, at least partially, enlightened self-interest, that they get a benefit out of this too because they get a potential pool of employees coming through. Can you talk about some of those groups and how they function?
Absolutely. I'll give you one that's sort of complex, and that's the Fire and Rescue Program Advisory Committee. We have people from the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute, MIFRE.
Yes.
We have people from the, and I'm sure I will mispronounce, so forgive me if you're watching. We have from the Washington County Volunteer
Fire and Rescue
Association.
Right.
We have people from the local fire stations, Chief Lord from the city. Everybody comes together at one table, and we talk about the program, we talk about curriculum, we talk about certifications, and we talk about the need. And we are having huge success because our graduates of the program are being hired as career firefighters. And it's through the connections that are made around the table. It's from the advisement that comes around the table, from the curriculum that we need to be teaching, the academic rigor that we need to do, and the skills-based assessments we need to be teaching.
So last topic from my perspective, and I'm going to throw this one to Ron to investigate, but that is what's next for Tech High? What is the future? What does the future look like? What are your hopes and aspirations as the leader of that program?
Dream big.
I'm excited. I'm excited, and And as far as programs go, we are looking for the programs for the future. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing. We are looking at the manufacturing engineering programs, but we're also looking at doing a blended trades program where a student can come to the Washington County Technical High School and get a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of masonry, just the basics, the basis, and that will give the basic certification and safety training to get to the employee. I'm really excited about our 5-year plan. I think we have a good plan moving forward. As far as dreaming big, I don't know what that may look like, or I can say what that looks like. I know our leadership is looking at different things. They're doing a great job with the resources that are available, and I certainly want to give them kudos for that. But we're excited.
Well, you know, it might be good to let kids run wild with their imagination too. Or young people, they're not
Sure.
kids, they're young adults, of what they can see in the future. Just having a little of this and a little of that, hopefully the day is they can come out with an actual degree. And I'm talking about, well, I could type, so I was commercial. Other people had academics, bookkeeping,
Sure.
you know, with office practice. It's something where they actually have an actual skill with X amount of hours in plumbing, in
Right.
masonry, whether it be stone, brick, or concrete block. So it's, you have a lot there, and you've got a lot to dream big on.
We do.
Someday, hopefully you have a campus where this is all laid out and the kids can really have their BISFA and their academic challenges that the academics have.
I would never say no to a plan like that.
Maybe even close to the college, Ron.
Maybe even close to the college, yes. Because there's call for an Eastern high school someday. And that Eastern high school could be the high school of the future.
Where do you think, and maybe, I don't know how much you've looked into this, but how does the Kirwan Commission address technical education?
Well, since we applied for a federal grant called the Perkins Grant, we get some oversight, and the new Kirwan Commission now says that, and it's not 100% finalized yet, but the Kirwan Commission is looking at career technology education, different measures, different reports, different monitorings to make sure that career and technology education is up to par. And I know that Washington County will meet or exceed those, and I feel good about that as far as the monitoring process.
All right. Okay. Any last questions?
Just a real quick one. You've built some houses in the local community.
We have.
Okay. So you're using the students from your program to go out there and doing all the functions of doing that. You have any of those? I guess my question is, how do you acquire the land? Okay. After the house is complete and it's sold, are the profits rolled back in to be reinvested in the program? And, you know, are there any under constructions going on right now?
We have what's called a Student Trades Foundation.
Okay.
And they're a 501c3. I think I said that correctly.
Yes.
Don't quote me on any of those.
You're right.
And they work directly with us. We have the principal of the technical high school sits on the board as an ex officio officer, and they get in-kind donations to build the house. But when the mason's there, and the footers are dug and they're pouring the foundation, the kids are there helping too. So the kids are helping pour the foundation. They put the footer boards up. They shoot it with a laser. They do all those things to make sure it's square. They help lay the block with the mason, and a lot of the times that work is donated as in kind. The materials are donated as in kind. But the long story short, once we get the house built, and I think this is house number 23 that we're about finishing.
Wow.
Okay.
It's already sold.
All right.
And once we finish that, then the money, there's usually not a lot of profit because a lot of the materials and labor are in-kind donations. But that money that we make then off that will be used to buy another plot of land and then go towards the building materials, which will allow the kids then to actually build the house. And it's a really, really exciting project to see, because kids come in and there's nothing, and then they get to participate in the clearing of the land, the digging of the footers or the cellar or whatever is going to happen, the construction from the foundation up we built 2-story houses, which we teach our kids safety, then you tie off and all those things like that. But they help run the equipment that's there, and then it's really an amazing sight to see when the kids all can see the finished product and know that they did that.
Well, just before Commissioner Baker retired from the school system, he built his last house he supervised out on Mulgans Avenue, which they had solar and everything next to the Sprint store. Be a good time to put your feeler out that if there's anyone out there that's got building lots that's already approved with water and sewer hookups and everything on that would like to donate, I'm sure there's tax incentives to do it.
I'm sure.
And there's people that donate cars to you all
Yes.
that you can fix a car up, sell the car, and buy other cars to fix
Absolutely.
up and to resell. So there's your chance. There's people that can do that.
Yeah, through the many dealerships.
Yes.
Cody, thank you for joining us. We
Thank you, Matt, for
appreciate
having
you
me.
visiting, and we hope to have you back again at some point to talk about more good things about the technical education of Washington County. Coming up next, we have another special guest, and we're going to be talking about rescue dogs. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Well, once again, we have a special guest with us. We're happy to welcome Melissa Needy. Melissa runs an organization called Pawssible Beginnings Rescue. The most important question that's on everyone's mind, Melissa, really is, who is your friend?
This is Little Man. Little Man is 13 years old. He is in hospice. And what that means is he's in long-term foster care.
Okay.
He'll never be adopted out. He will just stay living his life with a foster parent, which he's being fostered by me.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Well, he's a cutie pie.
Yes, he has heart failure. He's in stage 1 heart failure.
Oh.
He has trachea disease. He's got arthritis. So he's just, what you see is what you get. And the reason why we have the bells around his neck is so we can keep an eye on him at nighttime, so I can keep track of him moving through the house.
I see. So tell us about Pawssible Beginnings.
Pawssible Beginnings is basically, I'm a rescue. I save dogs from high kill shelters where they have hours to live, sometimes days. What I do is I pull them through North Carolina. It could be Tennessee, it could be Texas, it could be West Virginia. I transport them, get them here, get them into foster homes, get them seen by a vet immediately, and then what happens is I put them into foster care and hope to find them forever happiness. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes they're dumped at a shelter for a purpose, and that purpose could be heartworm, a broken leg, broken trachea, so forth and so on. So pulling from a shelter is very scary, but when it comes down to it, it's very rewarding.
What credentials do you need to be able to do what you do? Do you have to meet health regulations? Do you have to meet zoning regulations? What is it that you have to meet to be able to do that? How far away do you go? And were you part of the rescue of 200 and some dogs from a foreign country not long ago to save their lives?
Well, what we have to do is we have to purchase health certificates. So being a rescue, I don't have actual facility. As a rescue, I have basically foster parents. So if we find a dog at a shelter such as Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, we have to pay for a health certificate. They have to be seen by a vet before they can across the state lines.
In whatever state you're picking them up in?
Correct.
Okay.
So what we do is our funds financially comes out of the funds that we have for our rescue. We have to pay a health certificate and then get them vetted there. So in order for them to come across the lines, they have to be fully vaccinated and they have to have a full health certificate. Once they come, then basically I have to have a foster family ready to take on that situation. No, my hands have been pretty full right now, as you asked the question about the other countries.
Yes.
We just pulled 4 heartworm positive dogs from South Carolina, which that runs us anywhere from $800 to $1,100 per dog.
Wow.
Plus, they are kenneled, crated, whatever you want to say it to be, at least 18 hours of their day because of the heartworms. So basically, a lot of shelters, you have to have a good working relationship with them, or you have to fill out lots of paperwork in order to pull. Thank goodness I have a great relationship with a lot of the shelters, and as soon as I step up to say I'd like to pull one, they find transport for me. But it costs me probably a little over $100 to get a dog here.
Do you have to take them to a local vet when they get
As soon
here?
as they arrive, they go to another local vet. We use a vet here locally. They see the dog in order for me to put them into foster care, yes. Because if I'm bringing a dog across state line and I'm putting them into foster care, I need to make sure that that dog is seen before they go into a foster care with my families.
How many foster families do you have at this point?
Not enough.
Okay. So that's a need.
Yes, I need foster families bad. We supply everything. You just supply the love in the home. Sometimes I have foster moms that'll have 2 dogs. I personally have 2 fosters right now, including him. So that's one thing that I desperately need is foster families.
Okay. So we're going to roll the name of your organization and your website. I'm assuming there's contact information
Yes,
on there that
there's
they can
contact.
get in touch with you. Henry?
I'm a little familiar with dog rescue because my wife is involved with American Eskimo, and we're foster parents with too many dogs to even count at this point. I mean, currently I think I know we have 4 in the house, but the number that have gone through the door and became our forever home. So I understand the challenge, and people look and say, oh, well, it's X dollars to adopt a dog, but what they don't understand is
Right.
all the expenses that a rescue incurs to, 1, be compliant with law, but 2, to make sure that the dog coming into your house is healthy and safe for the family.
Correct.
And so, what they might see, oh, it's $400, $600 for you to adopt a dog. That money's not going into your pocket. That's being reinvested for future fosters, but also to pay for the medical bills that you've incurred if they have, like you said, broken legs and other things.
Teeth cleaning?
And teeth cleaning is,
Have to get their
on
teeth
little
done.
guys like that is.
Unfortunately, he has no teeth.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but I mean, teeth cleaning is a big expense, and you have good working relationships with vets locally. How did you get into this?
well, when I was a little girl, I found a bunch of kittens in my backyard, and I would sneak out of my parents' house and go and feed the kittens and take care of the kittens.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a vet tech when I grew up. So as years started coming and I started getting older, my passion was animals. That no matter what, I wanted to make sure that I was part of it. So I was with other rescues, I helped other rescues, but in 2016 I decided to do my own because the more rescues that are open, the more lives that can be saved.
Now, there are, and maybe we should explain to the audience, there are no-kill shelters, and there are high-kill shelters, and there's some that fall in between. Some of the no-kill shelters, actually, when they start to get the capacity, may transport them to a different facility that may be a kill shelter. Can you sort of go into that so you...
So, kill shelters have 12 kennels. When the warden says time is up, time is up. Either they get rescued or they get euthanized. So they reach out to me, they send these 911 code reds. If I can't take them, I will call some of my local shelters here in the area in West Virginia, and she will pull. I will drive and meet somebody halfway in North Carolina and pull them and drive them to that shelter where it's a no-kill shelter. A no-kill shelter, basically, I mean, I could think of a shelter right now. They work long and hard to try to get these dogs out, constantly. And the ones that are south, when that time is up, that time is up. You have hours. You can watch on the page, on their Facebook page, when they say, Henry has 1 hour. And at that 1 hour, you will see that they've euthanized it.
And it's, I mean, it's tough because you're picking up the phone and you're burning every waking minute trying to find a new home and give an opportunity for the dog to carry on.
Not knowing what they have. That's where we got all 4 of our dogs. We got our dogs from the south, and that's why all 4 of them are heartworm positive. So we have 4 dogs that we pulled from a shelter, a high-kill shelter, where their time was up and I couldn't let them be euthanized.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been involved with air transport for rescue pets? Because I know we took a bonded pair in from Las Vegas a few years ago. The owner passed away. The wife couldn't take them where she was moving, and they were seeing your dogs. What do you do?
Right.
So,
exactly.
you want to try to get, and they, we work with the rescue, and they help, I think it was, Dog Angels or something. I'm not sure of the name of the group that helped transport them. I know the name of the rescue, but bring them in. We picked them up at Dulles and then brought them home.
Yes, there's a lot of great organizations that will. The minute that I post that I need someone to pick up a dog, I am very blessed that I've had so many people step forward to help me.
Okay, great.
And I can't save them all, but I'll keep trying.
So from a financial standpoint, you talked about a vet bill before you leave there. You talked about transport costs. You talked about a vet bill once you get here. If you're looking at something like heartworm, you said $800 to $1,100. How do you fund all this?
Well, I sell candy bars. I sell baked goods. I serve tables in the evening. I put up donations on my page. I do fundraisers, silent auctions. You name it, I do it. Whatever I can do. And when somebody donates to my rescue and they want to pay or write a check, I make them take it right over to my vet on Virginia Avenue and write the check payable to them so I can get my vet bills down.
Wow. So people that want to be involved, people that see the show and say, that's something that I want to do. What types? We've talked about the fosters. We've talked about obviously the finance. What other positions do you have need for?
I would love to have a fundraising director to lead fundraisers. That way, when I'm out driving 4 hours to pick up dogs, I know she's behind the computer putting a fundraiser together, knowing that the funds will come, and they could do bingos, quarter auctions, anything to help out with the rescue, even volunteer their time. We do a lot with a local pet value, and we do a lot of events of their dog washes. They give the finances back to our rescue on the weekends, so we need a lot of help, a lot of people helping us fundraise, guys like this.
Excellent.
I guess the other question, it takes a very dedicated person to be involved anywhere with animal rescue, with animal shelters, etc. There seems to be controversy wherever they are. Why? It seems like there should be a common goal, but why is it always so much in a turmoil?
Well, because a lot of the people that are involved in that type of stuff, they don't think about the dogs. They think about themselves. And if you put the dogs first, and you concentrate on the dogs and stop worrying about the background scenery of it or any of that, and just keep moving forward. And every time I pick up a dog, the first thing I say to them is, "I've got you now, and no one will ever hurt you again." So they just keep focusing on the dogs because we are their voice. We are everything to them. And as you see, little man, he's just sitting here hanging out.
Very well put. I wish more people could hear what you just said.
Exactly.
At the upper end of some of the organizations.
Right. It's a lot of the organizations, there is, stuff that happens behind the scenes. You've got to focus on that dog. I don't have time. If I focused on what people would say or what kind of turmoil they want to stir up, I'm not going to be able to save a life. So I concentrate on that dog.
Now, do the shelters, since you've developed relationships with, do they charge what they would charge the general public for a pool fee, or?
No.
Okay.
Depends. Some of the shelters in West Virginia, I can pull absolutely for free. Mm-hmm. Just they'll get a health certificate through their vet that they have there for me. Further south, it's about $89. And that includes the vet, the first scene of the vet. So
Okay.
You pay the pool fee, you pay the vet, and that goes back to the shelter. But that money goes towards the dogs that they have in there.
Right.
Food, the blankets, the bedding. They put back into their business.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
This was very educational.
Educational.
Yeah. So,
I applaud you for what you said.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And what you do. Clearly, you're making a difference. And you're right, you can't save them all, but
I will die trying.
all right, on that note, we're going to take a break and stay with us. Fast Five is coming up next. Welcome back. Well, here we are, Fast Five, 3 panelists, 5 topics, 7 short minutes. Let's get started. Arrivederci, Rod Rosenstein. Ron, I know this has got to be a heartbreak to you. Tell me what you think.
He's from Maryland. I think he was a great prosecutor in the state of Maryland over the years. He did what he was supposed to do. President didn't like it. Sessions did. Now he's come in and he's handed in a resignation. The report's over. Barr accepted his resignation. Trump, I guess, has accepted his resignation. But in a lot of the different areas, depending on who you, what news source you get the departure from, is what he said in his departure letter. So I wish him the best. I wish them all in the Department of Justice the best. It's time to get on and run the country. But I do think that the people need to know what's in the report.
Was he a good public servant, in your opinion, Henry?
You know, judging him was kind of like being on a roller coaster, because some days you think, oh, he's doing a really great thing, and then other days you hear other things. And it depends what news outlet it's coming from. I think as we go to turn this page and try to move forward, I think that he served his position with honor and distinction.
Okay. Topic 2, U.S. is seeing a record outbreak of measles. There is this post-conventional morality crowd that now thinks that vaccinating your kids is not a good thing because of quote-unquote dangers.
Well, I think we have a double whammy with that. One is as we have this immigration crisis that from other countries that do not immunize, they're coming over and bringing the virus. And then we also have the anti-vaxxers who fear that, oh, it could cause some type of health effect on their child.
Thimerosal,
right.
All of that.
So you have that double whammy. The school system says you don't go to school unless you're vaccinated. So they're going to be homeschoolers. There's certain religious sects that don't believe in having vaccinations. Well, they're going to have to face whatever the consequences are. You know.
But everyone's facing the consequences.
Well, because if you read in some of the measles literature that's been out, some of us, well, probably many who are here on the set tonight and out watching the show, are not immune to the measles anymore, because our shots did not cover for what the modified viruses have become. I had a booster when my wife was in healthcare. She tells me I'm safe. Whether I am or not, I'm going to blame her if I'm not. But anyway.
Maybe you need another booster.
I don't want another shot. You get enough shots in life.
Ron, what say you?
I don't know, it sounds like some of Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh's talking points for this morning or yesterday. This thing is wrapped up into 3 counties in the country, primarily. And in Brooklyn alone, there are 432 cases of measles in Brooklyn. This is a hyped up way to discredit having the measles vaccine that's been carried to a whole new level of distorting what the real facts are about a potential measles outbreak.
Ron,
and I let you talk now. I didn't interrupt you one bit. I think that we need to find out actually what is the story. If what you say is right, good, we need to deal with it. If this is right also of what they're doing, trying to discredit measles shots to be given, then we need to deal with that. But right now, the real truth isn't out there by everybody.
I'm missing the point of where somebody's trying to discredit measles vaccines.
Oh my gracious, it's a big deal. Anti-vaccination organization known as Peach.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
I get that piece.
Okay, so they're trying to discredit shots, or say they're even accusing it of being like the Nazis used to do back in Germany. I mean,
Okay.
it's a
But what does
really
that have
big
to do
deal.
with Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh?
Oh, I just used that as talking points for the day.
Okay.
Some
Well, you must
people
have heard something I didn't,
Some
so-
people get talking points. You talk about this today.
Okay.
So we're going to be measles today, or somebody brings out something tomorrow. I just kind of look at general news. I don't even watch MSNBC, CNN, or any of them anymore. I don't watch any news.
You get all your news from Facebook,
I
right?
get all my I actually
WDVM?
go on. I look at the Post. I look at Associated Press. Look at different people and get different.
So you're getting all the news from the same sites the other people are. You're just
I
digesting
would
it.
suggest that you have more than one news to determine a point.
Because there is a slant, no matter who's reporting.
No matter who's reporting,
Couldn't
there's a slant.
Couldn't agree more. Let's talk about drones and the fact that for the first time, a drone was used to deliver a kidney for transplant. That's an interesting use case for a drone. Is this a potential big win for medicine in the future?
Yes. And they said the very same thing. It's the first one that they've had, but it stops all the airline snafus of transferring, you know, the cooler that it's in or the way that it gets there, and now it gets specifically where it's supposed to be in a much more timely manner. And it's something that's going to be revolutionary in the medicine world.
All right. Henry?
I think it's really interesting, and you know, it's replacing warheads and spy cameras with life-saving organs. So you can have something shipped from Chicago and be in Baltimore, and you're not waiting for the plane to get loaded with the passengers, you know, because a lot of times they do wait for that transport or the extra high dollar cost of booking a full flight, because a drone can be handled essentially remotely.
You know, in the military, you had a logistation that dealt with logistics, and the logistics of getting an organ from the medical facility where it was harvested to where it's going to be implanted, those logistics are some of the worst that you have to go through.
I'm sure they are.
So this creates, you know, the drone gets it right to where it's supposed to be.
Next best to Star Trek, where we just beam the organ to them.
One day they'll pipe it through and do the operation somehow through.
On the internet,
Yes.
right? All right. Governor Hogan names a new Corrections Division Secretary. Henry, what say you?
I think it's a good, solid appointment, has the background and credibility to step in, and I think he should be very successful in his position.
Is he going to be able to stop the release of prisoners into the areas where they are incarcerated and send them back to their home communities?
I don't know if that's going to be a priority on his list.
Ron, what say you?
I would say, Henry, I think you might be wrong on that one, and I hope you are. You know why? He lives in Williamsport. He lives in Washington County. He knows the problem. I knew him when he went to work for Montgomery County in the year 2000. And in 2015, he was headed to run the Montgomery County prison system of over 2,000 prisoners and had a budget of about $98 million. I think he will bring some things that are very pertinent to Washington County, and he understands it. I also liked Mike Ziegler, who was there to replace him, you know, on an active basis.
Yeah, temporary basis.
Talked to Mike 2 weeks ago up at Bill Gertner, who is with Gatekeeper's office. And this gentleman, Mr. Green, is very much involved in dealing with the recidivism and ex-offenders. So we've, I think Washington County, with our prison complex in Western Maryland's got a friend, and Secretary Green.
Excellent. And our last topic, and this is a WTF, or what the flip side topic. There was a Hagerstown man arrested in a restaurant in Gettysburg for, as he put it, exciting himself in the bathroom. And apparently people walked in on him, and that was what he was hoping would happen, is that people would walk in on them. Henry, what is up with that?
Okay, let's talk about the trauma. The individual that walked in on him was a child.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was in the stall and
He was in the stall, had the door swung wide open.
Yeah.
So many levels of wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, the child went out, told his father, and that individual departed from the store. The family returned to the Friendlies the next day for lunch, and this guy is now looking through the window, and the father recognized him. And fortunately, they were able to get a license tag and find out that he was a resident of Hagerstown, and he confessed to it. But what level of wrong? I mean, this is just
wrong.
Disturbing. Very, very disturbing.
Ron?
It's disturbing for me for one way. If I opened a door and it was a wrong door, it would go shut immediately. Why the kid stood there and why. This reeks of so much misinformation or information as it's being reported. I don't like the way it's been reported. They come back. And the guy talks of what he did. It sounded like the kid stood there forever. And I just, if I read
he was
the
probably
entire story,
stunned.
Yeah, stunned.
Yeah, I would be stunned if I was a kid.
Yeah, but you'd shut the door and get out, okay? The other thing is, I've watched it on Facebook, and some of the people that commented about the guy, they don't know whether the guy's got Alzheimer's, they don't know whether the guy's sick, they don't know anything about the guy, but yet the people are ripping this person up, and he's probably got a medical problem with his mind that created the problem. I don't like the way it's been reported. The in-depthness of the story was subject and questionable in my mind of how it was reported. Too much just, and then they go back the next day, and then they got their spyglass, he's got a spyglass. The whole story looks to me like it's a hoax and was made up.
Interesting. There's our conspiracy theory for the night. And on that, that's all the time we have tonight. We hope you will like us on Facebook. We hope you'll follow us on Twitter. We hope you will send us your feedback to feedback@theflipsidetv.com. That's feedback@theflipsidetv.com. Most importantly, join us next week for another visit to the Flip Side. Good night.
Focus TV, Smart TV.